Paul, say something. And you were like,
Oh, sorry about that.
Who was smacking their head off the keyboard?
Alright,
Who's smacking their head off the keyboard?
That is literally what it sounded like.
Okay, I hit the go live button, so we're live, but don't need to talk about anything for like a minute because, let the notifications get out.
I'll share it. Invite people to the broadcast as well. BTW.
Oh, you've got me fucking stuck singing a goddamn fucking song.
It's a great song. That's our interlude music.
Dude.
And now we've lost all of our...
Well, we can't go minus figures, to be honest.
Are we introducing ourselves this time again? Yes. I presume we are.
Yeah, sure. Like, I may as well introduce myself now. I'm Shane, the main host of this great show, the Bandits podcast, joined by Paul.
I'm Paul Morgan. I'm an international kart racer. For the second week running.
I was gonna bring that up if you didn't say it, so
I'm gonna bring it. Of course I'm gonna bring it up. Of course I'm gonna suck my own cock.
Oh, Jesus
and
Christ.
The level has just dropped.
Moving on.
And the smooth, the beautiful Vincent.
Yes.
Hello.
I'm Vincent. As previously stated, I'm usually known as Jesus. And apparently, as identified today, I'm a workaholic.
Yes, 100%. Shall we tell the ladies and gentlemen why that is, Vincent?
Well, I just like to work my full hours and to prepare for my job properly, so I can earn all the monies.
So basically, we're doing something this weekend. We're all going out, going to do a bit of drifting. I was like,
Wow.
Vincent, are you excited for this weekend? And he was like, yeah, man, but I could also be using that time to further my job prospects. And I was just like, dude.
No. See, there, you misunderstood that. I mean, I look forward to the weekend, but the week still needs to, be a proper week so I can, work it properly.
Yes, but I was talking about the weekend. Anyway.
Oh, yeah, no, the weekend is the weekend, but yeah.
We're going to see the weekend.
Unless I'm on a business trip, in which case the weekend is usually work and events and stuff, but that's another story.
Another story for another time.
I just see Ross Hayes has joined the podcast. Well, not joined, but like listening. I thought I was letting him on the road half an hour ago. I seen, it's really rare to see Clio Sport, and I was like, it's the same color as his car, the same wheels, and I was like, what's Ross doing in trim? So I let him out, and then once it took off, there was like no loud noise, and I was like, wait a second, this ain't Ross. Oh God! But anyways, right. I think we'll get started.
Yes.
There's a slight echo on the on somebody's mic. Just FYI.
Paul.
Is it me?
I'll blame Paul. But anyways, first topic is
turn it down.
Karting, Motorsport Ireland. Oh boy!
Hilliston T4.
Where do we start? Paul, coming into the weekend, what were your thoughts?
I'm not going to beat around the bush. Coming into the weekend, I was pretty convinced I'd get a podium. I was feeling really good. Attaboy is a track, as of recently, I really enjoy.
But then again, you didn't know I was racing. It was like 2 days before. It was
I didn't, but that still didn't put me off. That just kind of spurred me on a bit more.
Yeah, it's like, I have to binge Shane now. That was basically your aim.
Yes, 100%.
But no, even like, you had a really good run at the Tullyallen Kart Championship. I should explain the Tullyallen Kart Championship. It's basically a club level, I wouldn't. It is a fun, more friendly atmosphere championship than Motorsport Ireland, which is full of. But so we come to Motorsport Ireland, and it's the place where you want the good results. Tullyallen, okay, it's nice to get a podium, and if your pace is quick in Tullyallen, you should go decent in Motorsport Ireland. But anyways, Paul was really quick at the Tullyallen event. Came into that by Motorsport Ireland event. Yeah, you had every right to be confident.
Yeah, I did, and like even judging off the test day we had, like before the Sunday, so the Saturday of last weekend. Even judging off that, my pace seemed really good. I was a bit confused about my dry pace, but my wet pace, the one wet session we had, I was the quickest out of anyone, even Mr. Burke. Isn't that right?
I can't go into too much detail about that, but I'll keep that between us.
No. Shh.
But yeah, my thoughts coming into the weekend were I'm mechanicking Paul, and then I got a few messages off Tiddleson with a good deal to rent the kart, and like I done Mondello earlier in the year where Motorsport Ireland screwed us over. We didn't get a final, so I was like, oh, I want a podium or something at least this year. So it was hard not to say yeah to it. Although looking after Paul as well, it was like, oh, it's going to be stressful. And the weekend, I knew it was going to be a dry, wet kind of weekend.
Yeah, it was very, very changeable. It was absolutely mental.
Yeah, so, but I was like, fuck it, be grand. The karts are relatively easy to run. Ish. We could go into detail later of why they're easy to run. But yeah, I knew if I just focused, once I put the helmet on, I was like, I'll be grand. Fuck it. Whatever happens out there, yeah, be grand. But I don't know. I wasn't overly confident though. Even though
you weren't?
No, I was going up against lads that like you guys been karting all season. I've driven this kart at Mondello, which doesn't matter because it's basically NASCAR. It's just flat out everywhere. I done 5 laps around that boy in your kart in the middle of the year. Well, I make that sound like that was like 6 months ago. That was like 3 months ago or whenever that was.
Yeah, like back in May.
Yeah, so okay, done 5-6 laps. And that's really it. So I was like, oh fuck. I knew Evan would be strong because he was strong at Tullyallen. So I knew you'd be strong.
He was strong in Cork actually he won the previous round in Cork as well. Oh wait. That was the round before.
No, he didn't win that. Nally won that.
Wait, then he won. Did he not? He won White River, didn't he? He won something.
He won something. But anyways, I knew he'd be quick. And Nally, there's a lot of talk about Nally. He's a young guy. He can be quick when he wants to be. Well, when the kart doesn't stop on track somewhere.
Yes.
So I kind of was like, there's a few quick guys around. I won't have it that easy. But yeah, that was my thoughts coming into the weekend. But Paul, practice got underway. How would you describe your Saturday?
Right, so the first 2 sessions were dry. I had my data from the TKC round and my lap times from that.
Mm-hmm.
So I was trying to judge my lap times off what I was getting that weekend, and yeah, I was fairly far off. I was baffled. I was really confused as to where that pace had gone in the dry. But it could have been because I was on old tyres, because the tyres I was using were pretty old. They were literally the same tyres I was using when we actually raced there in TKC. So they'd done a fair bit of running. But then the rain started to fall. Now, I had not driven in the rain ever in these karts or ever driven on wet tyres. So I was kind of like, right, I'll just go out here, see what's what. I'll find my way around eventually, like. So
Did you notice? Sorry to interrupt, but did you notice a specific difference between driving on wet tires versus driving on slicks?
I'll get onto that.
In terms of dynamics.
I'll get onto that, but so I rented some tires off Oren Henry from OHR and CRG Ireland, because I run with them in the MI paddock, so used them tires, threw them on the cart, started running started using wet lines as such. I still I wouldn't run dry lines. I'd be still running the outer line because that's where the more grip is compared to like the racing line, because there's rubber there. You don't want to be on that rubber because it'll provide no grip at all. So yeah, but I don't know. I seem to get on pretty quick, and then I tried this whole lean and stuff, trying to move the weight around the cart and all that. And that seemed to help me quite a lot as well. Like, it required a lot more work. It did tire me out a bit, but the times kind of paid off, you know. So yeah, I had the pace.
But we'll go back to Vincent's question.
Oh yeah,
with wets.
So I don't know. Basically, the wet just give you a lot more confidence. Like you'd have more grip than you would with like slick tires in the wet as such. Yeah, like it's just more grip. I find I was driving it the same. It just had more grip, you know, just taking the wider lines. I didn't have to run out onto the concrete. I could actually stay on the tarmac and use the outer lines. But yeah, I find when the track is drying as such, you kind of have to look for water or you'll burn the tires out. But that's really the only different dynamic that I can describe.
Yeah,
Would you say that on slicks you would sort of have to slide the cart in, whereas with rain tires it's more pointy on the front, or do you still have to back to get it burned?
Yeah, no, you wouldn't want to be sliding the thing. That's just gonna kill your tires and kill your momentum. With the wet tires, like, it helps you carry that momentum into the corner without too much hassle. Whereas the slicks are just gonna like understeer till the slicks can actually get grip somewhere, like, you know. If you get me that way.
So, do you still have like understeer even with the rain tires, but just a lot less, or is it like fairly pointy?
On the normal racing line, you'd have more understeer, but once you're off that normal racing line and you're using the wet line, it'd be fairly pointy, from my experience.
Yeah.
So, Shane, how was your Saturday?
Yeah, it was decent. I started off with a dry sprocket. It was kind of mixed weather all day, but quite literally the only setting we done was we widened the front a little bit. That was it. And I seen a lot of people doing crazy work to their car trying to tune it in. So I knew that was a good sign for me that I was straight away adapted to the track. When we threw in the wets, it was entertaining. It was like, I haven't driven on wets since like 2015 or something, and that was a really bad day for me because it seemed like everyone was on a grippier wet tire, which was just like the whole field. So I kind of was
on the Saturday, like, or
going back like a few years when I last drove on wets. It was a horrible experience, and I kind of dreaded this weekend. Well, last weekend, because I was like, shit, maybe I just lost my mojo in the wet. I don't know. But we threw it on, and all I could see was myself, you, Paul, and maybe Evan. Everyone else was spinning off and crashing and going slow. We were just us three. We're in a different league to everyone. So going from the dry, I was really quick. I was not expecting it.
Yeah, neither was I, to be honest.
I didn't know about my weight either, but it turns out I was bang on weight all Saturday. So the pace in the dry was legit. The pace in the wet, it was quick. So I was like, oh, okay, I'm grand for both conditions. But on the Saturday, I didn't want to do too much wet running because I was hoping just to use one set of tires for the whole weekend, which weren't new anyways. So I was always at a disadvantage from the beginning against some guys who were spending mad money just to try to win this.
Yeah, we'll get on to that.
Yeah,
I'm sure.
But Saturday night, I was happy. I was confident. I knew it was going to be most likely 3 and maybe 4 people kind of fighting out for the top 4. I was kind of surprised by a guy called Alan. He was just not on the pace that weekend, and he's the championship leader, although there's only 3 registered for the championship. But he's won the most races this year, and he was just nowhere this weekend. So
it seems like Athboy is a bit of a bogey track for him, in my opinion, because even when we were there at TKC, he was having a few problems as well.
Yeah, so I think that's where your awesome mechanics come into play.
Bye.
Hint, wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
I want a pay increase.
Yeah. But yeah, on the Saturday, leaving the track on the Saturday night, I was praying for rain on the Sunday.
And you got your rain. So
I did get my rain.
We go into Sunday, and it was like, it was such a frustrating day. It was in the morning. It pissed rain before practice. We put a full wet setup on your kart, and we had planned to scrub your wet tires in because when they're brand new, they're like ice. But
to be honest, I didn't have any problems with that. I didn't really notice any different to.
Yeah, I suppose it's a good thing.
How they felt during the stint, like when they got older, like, you know.
That's usually a problem. Maybe it's only a problem in the more powerful karts, but yeah. So it was. We ended up putting setup wise on your kart, we're going to up and down with sprockets, and yeah, I'll let you tell that story in a minute of you nearly missing the start of the race because of our incident with the chain. But
yeah.
But practice. Shane. Oh yeah.
Good job, Shane.
Oh, all right. No. Give me a minute. Practice. I went out on slicks. Everyone went out on slicks except one guy, Evan, who went out on wets, and he was like 5 seconds quicker. And I was like, it was a good thing that he went out on wets because I knew for that condition, wets were the way to go. Because looking at the track, it looked like slick tires. I was like,
yeah, like. Looking at it, I definitely didn't think we'd need wets. Like, it definitely looked like more of a dry track than a wet track.
Yeah, but even though if it was like a 12-lap heat or whatever, he still would have pulled away such a big lead that even at the end he would have had big of a gap to keep the lead. But that was my practice, I suppose, on the Sunday morning. I don't think it was very eventful for either of us.
No, I had a pretty quiet one myself. I just went around and done the laps, really. Tried to look for a bit of grip on the slicks because I find that's where I struggled the most. I know we didn't have to race in those conditions, but slick tires on wet tarmac, that's where I really struggled the most to get the grip and stuff.
So I went up to the timing board or just to see where I was starting for Heat 1. Pole position. I was like, ooh, that's interesting. You just come back and they stick you on pole. So I was confident, but also like, oh, this could be interesting. But yeah, I started clean in Heat 1. Although, no, I went into turn 1 on the inside, which was a bad thing in the wet because
yes,
it's a cambered turn 1. All the water was on the inside, so I ended up like throwing the kart in, obviously, and it was like wet tires and all this stuff. So I had the grip, but the guys on the outside had more grip. They could basically undercut me, and 2 guys got by me. So I was kind of like, the way we set my pressures were they'd come alive at the end. But at the start, I kind of forgot that, to be honest. You're just so involved in the battle, and I was like, fuck. I'm like struggling to pass these guys. But then once the tires like clicked, just pulled away from everyone. Like I passed the championship leader who was fast asleep coming into the chicane, past Evan who was pretty quick in the wet. I ended up winning that heat by, I don't know, a nice margin anyways.
Yeah. So heat 1 for me, I started P8. So to be honest, I wasn't too upset about that. I honestly preferred to start the first heat down the grid a bit, just so I can get used to the conditions, because I knew people in front might make mistakes, so all I'd have to do is keep it on the track. But anyway, yeah. So the race started off. I think I made one position in turn 1 around the outside on the wets. Then I was pretty nose to tail with a few guys for a couple of laps. Then one of the guys up in front of me, Nally, he broke down along with someone else, so that gifted me a few more positions. Then,
is that a frequent occurrence that those carts have mechanical issues, or is it like just those guys were, wrestling the carts on the track or something?
I think it's
the engines are new this season, so they're having their teething troubles, to say the least.
Okay, yeah.
But yeah. I think it depends on who looks after you. Like, okay, Paul and I actually had issues later on, which we'll talk about then, but all season long, it's ran pretty mint. Like, we've had no big issues. Okay, there's been a small issue, like pulling the cord and snapping it. It's little issues, but there's people all season who they're just breaking down and snapping chains and all this stuff, and we've learned by now, like, I think we're the smoothest. Like, we've had the smoothest run in a way, along with Evan, but the rest of the field. So I think it depends on who's looking after you and yourself as well. Like, Paul's not rough on the cart. So yeah, it's really dependent on the team, mechanic, driver combination, I believe.
Yeah. But then going back to my first heat, I was running a full wet setup, so I would have been running a shorter sprocket, isn't it?
Yeah, so you had really good power out of corners, but no top speed.
I had really good acceleration, but I was hitting the limiter fairly early, but that didn't seem to affect me too much because I was fighting the championship leader. We had a nice out tussle, but I eventually got by him. Then he tried to get back at me straight away, but then ended up spinning behind me. So I went on to finish Heat 1 in 3rd place, which I was pretty happy about. I didn't even realise what position I was in till Franco told me when I got out of the cart. I thought I was maybe P5 or something.
Yeah, I was like on the opposite side of the track. Well, not opposite side of the track, but I was a good bit ahead in a way. But I couldn't work out because so many people spun. There was that many back markers in between us. I was like, geez, Paul's only maybe 5th or something.
Yeah.
Then I seen Frank giving you like the number 3 sign, and I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, oh man, stop. I was in shock. I was like, what? I was so happy. And that was a really nice way to start the weekend off.
But yeah,
nice.
Heat 2 is when things get spicy.
Well,
it does, because, okay, so some lads threw on new tyres. Track was, I wouldn't say, it was kind of greasy.
But do you mean like they put on wets instead of slicks or slicks instead of wets? Or...
No, brand new wets.
Brand new wets, which would nearly cost £200.
which we didn't do.
No, so at this stage, my already worn tyres were nearly like, there was like a mil or two left of rubber on them. Like it was looking bleak for me. But I was like, okay, I'll keep it in the top 3. Hopefully, I might get a front row start. It went. I had to start P8, P9. So basically, back at grid. I don't know what happened in turn 1. I think Paul basically using the same line as me. He went into turn 1, went deep, he kind of squared it off. Yeah. And I won't name the dumbass who drove into the side of him and spun himself and caused a big pile up. But I basically
and then he came to me on the final on the grid for the final, telling me not to do that when he should kind of watch what he's doing.
Yeah, but anyways, so I wouldn't say Paul caused a crash. It wasn't. He was just taking a wet line like you should. So basically, that took out like 4 people straight away, and I ended up in 3rd pretty soon. Paul pulled out a nice lead at the start. He was
I was leading the heat for quite a while till Nally behind me on the new tyres eventually got by me.
I'm not going to say I tried to play a team game, but I did try to hold him up for a while. We were a bit of rubbing, and but at the same time I thought I could hold him off to keep P2, but
he was glued to the ground. Like when he got by me, he was running the dry lines, and I tried to follow him with doing dry lines because I didn't know he was on new tires at this point.
So
And I tried to follow him, but I was just losing so much time doing it.
yeah, and that's where you screwed yourself over because Paul had better wets than me, and Paul was driving good until this Nally guy got ahead of him, and I honestly couldn't catch Paul. But then Paul started following his lines, which wasn't the right thing to do with his tires.
No.
So I started closing in, and at this stage, I really mean it. My wets were fucking screwed. But Paul was losing so much from taking the wrong lines. I closed up. It was like last lap, and I was on Paul's bumper. He got a bad run out of a hairpin, and I pulled alongside. But Paul was on my left. I was in the middle. There was a guy on the right who's either breaking down or slowly taking off again. Now, I should point out at this stage there was no yellow flags. And I know
I didn't even see any.
Yeah, there was quite literally no yellow flags. We had all our guys at the marshal post where there was supposedly a yellow flag. And they were like, there was no yellows. So the move was being done. I done the move. But Paul got me back quite quickly. But Paul then looked behind, and at this stage I just got a bad run out of the hairpin going up the hill towards another hairpin. So
I thought Shane was right on my bumper at this point, let me say.
Yeah, so at this stage I had settled for third. I was like, this should put me first. I worked it out. Like, the guy that was winning that heat broke down in heat 1. Paul finished behind me in heat 1. So I was like, this is Paul. Okay, I don't need to do anything risky. Paul looks around. You could tell he's panicking.
I wasn't panicking. But I remember what you were saying to me on one of the test days. You were like throwing cheeky moves into that corner. So I was like, right, I know what I thought he was going to try and do. So I was like, right, I'll cover that line off.
So he lunges towards it, fucking deep on the brakes, and I was thinking, fuck, he's gone deep on the brakes. Until he was backwards.
Yeah, I locked the rear axle and spun it around and just kept it off the grass.
Yeah, and I was kind of like, it's such a hard moment for me because it was like, where is he going to stop? Is he going to let it roll backwards? Is he going to stop on apex? I don't know where he's stopping. So I'm like wasting a bit of time waiting for him to stop so I could avoid him. Then I laughed at him. I drove on, whatever. I was looking behind, kind of hoping he got going because we had such a big gap to fourth that I was like, he still get third. Come on, please don't cut out. And thankfully he did, but or thankfully he didn't cut out, I should say. But as we come in, Paul looked disappointed, whatever. But straight away I was told I overtook under yellow. So I was like, well, there you go, Paul. There's your second place back.
So I got second place by 0.5 tenths of a second.
Yeah, so you bet me by half a second because I got a 5-second penalty.
Yeah.
But it's really annoying. Not the main reason why I left Motorsport Ireland karting, but it's one of the reasons. It is just this shitty decisions where I supposedly overtook under yellow. But yeah, I had a load of people around backing me up saying there was no yellow. And
yeah, in all honesty, I didn't even see a yellow
no, and it's like right at the track edge, so you could not miss it. And it is also where my guys would give me signals and stuff like this. So I was looking at that direction every lap, no yellow. So I went out onto the track with Motorsport Ireland to just 100% understand where this yellow was. And I was like, whatever. I didn't argue it. It was a waste of time. I was getting a penalty either way. But it's just silly things like that. I was even talking to a photographer, CTDF photos, but no. But it didn't matter. Because the third place still put me on pole for the final.
Yeah. So for the final, it was a SimTech 1-2. So we both qualified first and second on the grid for the final, which was pretty damn awesome, to be honest. That was a really nice feeling. Shane first, me second.
Actually, it was nerve-wracking for me. Because, to be honest, you had a better starting position. I was like...
Yeah.
It was nerve-wracking because I knew if I went too deep, I'd take you out.
Which you nearly did.
Which I nearly did. I was committed. But anyways. But yeah, you had the better starting position. I was like, so many things going through my head. Like, if it was anyone else, I would have been like, yeah, fuck it. If I gave them a bit of a bump, whatever. But at the same time, I'm trying to look after you all season. And, like, the last thing I want to do is send you into a ditch. So...
Yeah. Like, going into the final, I was kind of thinking, right, I know Shane will beat me. I knew you'd run and hide. Because you're good and for other certain reasons.
Aww.
But yeah, like I knew you weren't the race I would have been dealing with, so I was kind of like, right, I need to consolidate this second place and try and get the podium I felt I deserved because I was in the top 3 guys all weekend. So I was feeling fairly good going into the final, if I'm honest with you. Yeah, so will we talk about turn 1?
Yeah, give me your perspective, because from my perspective, I seen fucking nothing.
Okay, right. So going into turn 1, me and Shane got pretty much an equal start. Shane was on the inside, I was on the outside, so I would have had the better grip. Shane would have had the less grip because that's where all the water kind of was. Shane dived into turn 1. I think he locked, but either way, it shot him out to the outside of the track, right onto my line, so I kind of had to pull the kart in and kind of get the nose on Shane's right hand side because his left hand side wheels were like nearly up against the grass. And at one stage I think I had my front wheels in line with his rear wheels, but then he had the better line into the next turn, so he just pulled away from there. And then my focus immediately switched to the guys behind and trying to build that gap, which we started to do for about 8 laps, I reckon. Definitely 8 laps, because I remember looking at my lap timer, and it was like, oh, I looked at it and I was like, oh, damn, like 8 laps gone already. Oh, by the way, the final was a 16 lap race, so it was like halfway through the race.
So yeah, I'll talk about my start, I suppose. Yeah, it was myself and Paul got a good start. I was actually going to give you like some signal to tell you when I was going, but I was like, no, that'll just confuse things. We'll just do it. But the start was good. I could tell people like were all over my bumper in turn 1, but it was because in heat 1 I started pole and it went, I wouldn't say badly, just not perfect. So I was kind of worried with the final, but thankfully it seemed okay. I was able to lead into a turn 4 or something, which is a tight hairpin, which is kind of important. So I knew if I led into there, and if I just got my head down, got clean laps, I could pull away. I should mention I didn't use the same wets as from heat 2 because they were fit for the bin, so I got tyres off Oren. Big shout out to Oren Henry Racing, who like sorted us out with tyres and pressures and the whole lot. So
yeah, they were a big help this weekend. They really were. Like I can't thank them enough.
Yeah, like I'll thank them in a bit, but yeah, so they were fresh enough tyres. So I knew I wouldn't say I had an advantage in a way with freshness. Like it was just a bang on tire pressures and everything suited the conditions. So I was like, okay, build up the lead at start, just go. I had a feeling I'd fall back towards the end because Evan, he had kind of worn wets, which were going to work at the end. So, but yeah, the first half of the race, I was pulling multiple tenths at the start, like multiple. It was like such a big lead, but you can never take that stuff for granted because anything can happen. As me and Paul found out the hard way.
Yes, so yeah, 8 laps in, I was like, right, I'll try and consolidate my position. I was currently in P2. I was pretty happy with myself. My tyres, I had been using the same tyres since the start of the day, so I was probably at a bit of a disadvantage because there actually was a downpour before the final, so would put more water on the track. But yeah, so the two guys behind me had fresher tires than me, Nally and Stapleton. So they were chasing me down. Then I think it was lap 8, or no, not lap 8, lap 9. Coming out of the hairpin, I felt the engine bogged down. It felt like I was going nowhere. Then it decided to pick up power again. I was like, oh Lord, what's this? At this point, I still had P2, but the guys were right on my bumper. At one point, Stapleton was alongside me, and I just held him off into the middle hairpin. I was defending for my life. Like I don't think I could have done much more than what I was doing. But yeah, as the final started to wind down, the engine started to bog down more in the hairpin, which is so crucial to the lap.
Mm-hmm.
The guys just flew by me coming out of the hairpin because newer tires and the engine just bogged down. So I lost the 2 positions in like nearly one go. I was so gutted. Like it was actually heartbreaking. I was that put me in 4th position, and that's actually where I stayed till the end, and that crushed me, to be honest. I was just so disappointed because I knew this weekend would be a good weekend for me, and it was up until then, until we had the mechanical issue. Well, yeah, mechanical issue, let's say, and that was the only thing stopping me from getting the results I wanted to achieve. So that was hard to swallow.
Yeah, like Paul said, he basically lost power, and I had a similar issue. Maybe lap 10 or 11 or something. Suddenly a loud noise. I thought the exhaust like cracked or something. Looked around. Yeah, it looked fine.
I definitely
to me.
didn't get that.
No, it looked fine to me. So that was worrying. So I knew it was internal issues.
Yeah.
It was like I remember like looking to my guys, and I just threw the head up in the air, and they were like giving me signals like, you have a big gap, which I knew I could see it quite easily, but
yeah.
it's just like it could let go any minute now. So I start like kind of more coasting into corners, just as little time on a throttle as possible, just to try save the engine in some way. But thankfully, thank God it survived. Like, it was so weak at the end. Yet I was still doing decent times because I was maximizing the corners as much as I could. But going down straights out of corners, it was fucking shit.
Yeah.
So that was stressful. But I got the win by like 9 seconds, which was pretty cool, I suppose.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's all them little things like Nigel, Oren, Johnny, Franco, them boys like saved our asses multiple times, because I was like looking after Paul. I'm in the same class as Paul. I didn't touch my own kart, which at the end of the day I didn't need to by the looks of it. But just trying to like change sprockets and all this stuff, and if it wasn't for them boys, we would have been fucked. Actually, yeah, we need to go back a little bit to when I changed the sprocket on Paul's kart.
The
chain in between, there's a little sprocket in between the clutch and the engine, and I hadn't noticed the chain got jammed in between a bolt and the clutch, and basically it was like 5 minutes until we had to be on the grid where we noticed we had an issue. And thank fuck for Johnny.
And we actually noticed that the rear axle wasn't spinning, so we were like, what is going on here? Like,
yes, I went to spin the axle and it was like solid, and I was like, oh shit. But yeah, thank Johnny, fair fucks to him.
Johnny saved our ass multiple times.
Took the engine off, took the clutch off, got it going, the whole lot, and like you were on the grid, just like holy fuck. I felt so bad. I was like, I don't even want to start this heat.
Really?
Yeah, I was like, it's my fault. Like, it was my fault in the end, but at the same time, it was
mistakes happen, dude. Don't be worried.
Yeah, but at the same time, it's a shit engine design. Fuck me.
Yeah.
Like, it's such a small gap to get the chain on, which is ridiculous when you're kind of rushing. But, but yeah, that's kind of the summary, anyways, of my weekend was I was optimistic. It went quite good, obviously, because I won. So yeah, I'm pretty happy. Paul?
Nice.
Yeah, a quick summary of mine. We're very disappointed with the result. Not the result, arguably, I deserve. Not the result I wanted. Still my best result of the season, but more than anything, I'm just happy with how I drove because I think I drove pretty well all weekend. And I can really I can feel myself becoming a better driver overall. Obviously, I'm still making little mistakes, which I'll eventually iron out. But
pressure.
Shut up. But like overall, I think I'm becoming a better driver, which is the main thing, I suppose.
So I'll ask you, Paul, first. What's your opinion on the T4?
It's a great concept, but it has its flaws, like all great concepts, I suppose. It's not even big things. It's just little niggly things, like like the pull cord snapping,
multiple times.
The engine design, well, not even the engine design, but the axle design, where we have to like actually cut the sprocket in order to get it on. And then to change the chain, we actually have to take the whole axle off, which is very time consuming.
Yeah.
Are there development plans to alter these things, or is this just a staple of the design, and are they running with it and hoping for better reliability in the future?
You see, they can't do anything with the sprocket chain kind of stuff because just the way it's designed, there's nothing they can do. It's a pain in the ass, but like changing the sprocket's not bad. You just bend it around the axle. It's quite easy now. Changing the chain though is a pain in the ass. But the concept's good. Like to buy the kart and the engine is so cheap. Like usually, if you go buy a Rotax engine, it's the same price as you get this whole kart, like with tires and everything.
Oh wow!
So it's so cheap. It's great for beginners, and it's even great for like people like myself who just want to turn up, race, and do fuck all with the kart. It'll
and race in something more, let's say, than a standard rental car.
Yeah, like honestly, I love the thing with all my heart. Like it's my favorite thing that I own. Like honestly, it's like I'd be lost without it. It's just kind of frustrating that it has its little niggles. Oh yeah, and actually, I was on fire before Heat 1.
Literally.
Like you
I
were
was
just
literally
that quick, or
I was literally on fire. Yeah, like I don't know. We went to start the thing, it wasn't starting, so we took the air filter off, went to choke it.
Yeah.
Fire started coming out of the carburetor. So I jumped out of the thing. Johnny reefed the fuel line off. And then the guys, like the OHR guys, started like trying to put the fire out, and I shit myself. But anyway, I got into the heat.
What happens in those situations if the thing catches fire? Do you have some kind of warranty on the cart itself, or is that like it's over and done with in time to buy a new engine?
Wouldn't tell you.
The carts don't usually catch fire, so
yeah, it's a bit weird.
But yeah, I think, and they know it themselves, it was rushed. It definitely needed more time.
I would have liked to see in another season of development.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, definitely if you're looking to get into karting, it's the best class I think to start off in, because people get intimidated by Rotax or X30 because the speed's crazy.
Well, obviously, and the competition is crazy as well.
Yeah, so they get put off by the competition being so quick. Like, it honestly takes 2 years, I think, to at least find something. Like, your first year, you're never going to be properly up there. Second year, you should be showing signs of good pace. And then the third year, it's when you should be kind of up there. You'll know if you're up there or not by then. But people get impatient, and that's it. But at least with the T4, it's easy enough to work on and to understand, and everyone's the same chassis as well. I should mention all the same chassis, all the same engine.
Yeah.
So,
It's a completely spec series.
Yeah.
And honestly, I do think it's a brilliant concept, and I'd love to see the grids grow and for it to get more international recognition, because like I don't have the money to go Rotax or X30 racing, so I think I'll be in T4 for a while, and I'm not upset about that because they're great fun. Like honestly, I can't. These carts are the reason I don't like driving the twin engine rental carts in the endurance stuff anymore. They really are, because they're just so light and nimble. Same corner and speed as an X30 because they run on the same tires. So I love it.
Yeah, actually, that brings me onto the next point. Is kind of my question regarding. So we obviously as SimTech we run the double engine rentals for a lot of the endurance stuff. How do the T4s compare to this stuff?
The rentals would have more power, but they also have more weight.
Yeah, it's like with the T4, it's a lightness that gets it going.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say there's a huge difference in kind of waft added corners or anything between the two. It's not huge, but it's just the lightness and the grip from the T4.
So it's less. You can chuck it into the corners a bit harder and everything like that, versus with the big one where you're kind of lumbering through.
Yeah, that's basically it. Yeah.
Okay.
Then I would even say that driving a pro kart is a bit like driving the T4, but then a heavier version of it. But like the way it puts its power down, I find it fairly similar.
But with the pro kart, I've never driven it, but from what I've seen from watching you guys, it's like you can slide it more because it has a harder tire, so it's actually more work. So it's going to change for next year. The Tilson T4, they'll have a harder tire, so it's actually going to be more work compared to this year. It's like it's too grippy. It's fun, but I think next year will really bring out the best of drivers because it'll be sliding more. It's just going to be more work overall. And what is that noise? Jesus
Christ.
Who's eating cereal?
But yeah,
I don't know what noise. I didn't hear anything.
Probably from you, so.
Yeah.
What are you turning into cereal?
Are you cereal? But yeah, so harder tires in the rain and the dry next year for T4, which will make it more challenging, which I think it needs to be.
Definitely, yeah. I think a little less grip would be a good step for the class, in my opinion.
Okay.
But yeah,
and how
there'll
like,
also
what's
be
the
Go ahead. There'll also be world finals.
Oh really?
Oh yeah. So well, I won't say too much because I don't know if I'm allowed to, but there's got to be championships in different countries. Not too many from what I know of, but then they'll meet up in one country, one event where they'll find the best of the best. And so that's going to be cool if that all actually happens.
It really would, and I'm thoroughly looking forward to it if it happens.
Nice. And how would you say the competition is?
You have your.
How do we be nice?
It's a mixed bag.
Yeah, to put it nicely, it's a mixed bag.
Okay.
Actually,
so there's kind of the top of the class, bottom of the class, and then there's some people kind of in between.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I'll name the top drivers I personally think that are in that class. And Paul, don't get your head too fucking big. Paul's one of them. Alan, Evan, and I'll put Nally in there.
Yeah,
I think they're the top four. Then the rest, there's different categories, and I'm not going to put them into different categories because I'll get my head punched in.
Yeah, you're used to that in the MI pad.
Yeah, that's true actually. But I think that's all. I wasn't expecting to talk 15 minutes about karting.
Yeah.
I know, but it was. I find this quite fascinating, as I've never raced in a spec series like this, and it's interesting to hear, well, what goes on and what the carts are like and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I
And
think if anyone's
say-
interested, definitely, well, either contact us or go
Or-
to Tilson Facebook page.
yeah,
There's
And mention us, of course.
yes,
of course.
yeah, guest
And
discount.
if you're looking to come down and watch a race, our next race is in Cork in 4 weeks' time.
4 weeks.
Something like that, yeah.
Oh man, that's a long time.
3 or 4, well, definitely 3 weeks, could be 4. Hold on, I'll do the counting.
Yeah,
Hey.
roughly 3 or 4.
Are you gonna count it out? Do.
Yeah, 3 or 4. Yeah.
3 or 4. Oh wait, I'm also going to give a shout out to Sam, the Leaning Tower of Pisa from KMRS. Is it KMRS?
KMRS.
Yeah, because of his lean-in style in the wet, I copied it this weekend. Well, me and you did, Paul, and it worked beautifully. We were the
It did.
only people doing it, and we were fucking
Yeah.
quick.
Fucking
Do you
flying.
mean the fucking Euro lean that he always does?
Yeah, the huge Euro lane. Like, we were hanging out of the carts. And,
Yeah.
like, we had so much grip in corners. Like, it was fucking awesome.
Oh, it was beautiful.
So, thanks, Sam, for showing us how to drive in the wet.
Thanks, dude.
But
yeah,
any more questions, actually, from you guys? Or will we move on to Formula Uno?
so I believe there's a question for me. Who's your favorite mechanic? I am gonna say, both of you.
No,
No.
there always
Nah,
only has to be one. There can
honestly-
only be one winner.
Honestly, Frank and Shane, you're fucking legends. I'd be lost without you.
Yeah, you wouldn't be.
You mean the world to me. Fuck, I just can't. I can't like appreciate you enough. Honestly,
He actually wouldn't be able to start his own fucking cart without us.
no, I literally wouldn't be on track without them.
He stopped on track on the Saturday because he spun. He let it cut out. I had to stop. Well, I didn't have to, but I did because I'm a nice mechanic and driver. I stopped.
I was
and
fucking.
I had to start his engine for him.
I was fucking reefing the thing. I pulled it a good 10 times and nothing was happening.
Yeah, and then I just
I
bobble
always
it
like-
along. I just like pull it twice and it gets going.
Oh,
Uh,
that's another frustrating thing about the cards.
I think that's either a problem with you, more likely.
Meh.
Yes, but the thing is though, right, with the Hondas in the endurance, you could just reef it and it'll start. Where this, it's like you need a certain kind of force to get it going. But when you're full of adrenaline, all you're doing is reefing it. Like it doesn't. Oh, it's so annoying. And then if you reef it too hard, it'll snap, and then you're absolutely fucked.
Yeah, so it's more tricky than assuming.
Yeah, and also you need to choke it, which means you need to take the airbox off and all this shit. Not all the time, but you usually do. And Frank says, never mind being lost without us.
Yeah.
You'd be last without us.
Yeah.
Actually, another question. Like earlier, you were saying like you didn't do much to the cart, and you knew you were basically like already spot on. Does that mean like you guys already pretty much have tried most things and already know what's what, and are able to quickly just get straight to the setup almost, or?
Well, there's not much setup you can do. Like, it's fairly straightforward. You can widen the rear, change the sprocket, widen the front. Tire pressures.
Yeah, but is it
That's-
sort of that you've already figured out the tricks, sort of, and your first guess is already very close to what you really need?
Well, we're always learning about the carts. Shane knows his bits. Oren definitely knows his bits. So it's more of a combination between the two. That's how we're kind of figuring out the cart slowly but surely. Like, there's still little tricks we're still yet to learn and all that, but we're getting there, you know.
Yeah, like, for example, I won't go into too much detail because what you learn, you want to keep to yourself, but
Yeah.
we made a small, like quite literally a small adjustment on the front, and I didn't think it worked for either of us. Yeah, it worked fucking beautiful.
Oh, stop! It was
It just it gave
beautiful.
us more grip and it made it more stable, which was quite a shock to me. But there's a lot of things to try in a way. I see some guys going crazy with setups, and we're still beating them on quite literally the kart I drove at the weekend was the plain stock setup from what it's done all year. Paul's is basically the exact same, and I've
Yeah.
seen guys go crazy with camber, caster, ride height, all
We
this
didn't go
stuff.
near that stuff.
No, we were going to change the rear ride height at some stage during the season just to save the kart a bit, but we ended up not because I couldn't get the axle to move.
Yeah.
But but I've learned after how to do it, but not done it. But during the winter testing, that's when we'll mess with things because so far Saturdays have been like trying to get into the groove, like me trying to teach Paul the tracks and the little things and trying to get the right sprockets. And by the time you get everything right, it's kind of done. And the last thing I hate going to Sundays and changing a lot of things.
Yeah.
And with Paul being still new, I don't want to do something not wrong, but I don't want to change something that'll knock his confidence. I'd rather him drive with what he's driven on Saturday and know what to expect. And
Yeah.
so definitely winter testing, just go balls out, trying different things. And
So maybe you're a bit lucky that you have like something that's not too terrible, but just good enough to keep as a baseline, and because the others are changing so much, it might also like help you guys sort of, or doesn't that make such a difference, you think?
I think it does help. Some guys that are probably quick enough as it is are trying to find something that's not there from the cart.
Hmm.
Because I honestly think the cart on a default setup it's basically perfect. Well, I wouldn't say perfect, but I can't see why people are looking for more grip. It
Yeah.
has enough grip, and because of the way the class is, you don't want to have too much grip, or it's just it'll bog the engine. I honestly think it's a perfect balance, and
Yeah.
people are overworking. But where not to sound like a dickhead, but it's more the driving where the time is going to come from.
Yeah, it definitely is.
Um,
And can I also say, Tilliston have just put up a story on Facebook with a T4 testing in Dallas Karting Complex, which is in the US.
Nice.
so they're
Won't have any
experimenting.
rain tires there.
No, I can confirm it's completely dry. But yeah, so that's more promising news for the series that they're out in the US and stuff, you know?
But they have big competition out there. Briggs and what was it? Briggs and
Briggs and Stratton.
yeah, that's it. They do quite a similar engine, like very similar. The only difference is you're allowed whatever chassis you want. So CRG, Tony Car, Burl, whatever. Where this is the same chassis, same axles, like quite literally everything is the same. Where in the Briggs series you can change as much as you want. So it brings costs up doing that stuff. Like you could go through 5 different axles like of stiffness.
Jesus.
Yeah, so and it's a lot of money. It's like 200 quid an axle. So
Yeah.
at least with this series, like you're stuck with what you're given. So it'd be cool to see it take off in America. I'm not saying I doubt it will, but it'll struggle to go up against.
There's competition, yeah.
Yeah, and like there's big teams running. For example, in Canada, where it's big, the Burl Cooper team, they have a big grid of their guys doing the Briggs series, and I just can't see them moving. Like, even though it'll be cheaper, it's such a big grids out there. It's just it'll struggle, I think, out in America, but in Europe, where it's new, like in the UK, and if they go elsewhere, I think it'll take off fairly good.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's a good middle step between rentals and road tax.
I definitely think it's what we need out here, especially in Ireland.
Yeah, Ireland needed it because it kind of though it's taking away some guys from Tullyallen Championship, which is actually killing that championship. It's got awful quiet.
Yeah.
But then again, it's good for Motorsport Ireland because that was dead. But
They're having their biggest grids in years now
yeah,
because of.
but I think like looking to next year, they're expecting carts of 20. I hope that's the case.
That'd be awesome.
It'll definitely make racing tougher. Like you won't be able to come from the back of the grid as easy to the front.
Yeah, yeah.
You shouldn't anyways. Like, so it'd be interesting. But for sure, I hope driving standards improve a little bit.
Yeah, driving standards are a bit questionable.
Yeah,
That's
some-
probably
from-
because
from
they also
some-
have like different levels between all drivers, I guess.
From some people, not everyone, but some people.
like it's with the X30 for example or the Rotax, you have the power. You can overtake a more traditional way. But I'm finding with these Tillotson, it's quite hard to get the move done right.
It is, yeah.
You need to be committed. But if you come into a hairpin usually with a Rotax, you go in deep, you lock it up, square off the corner, power, boom, move's done. But with these, it seems like if the guy's getting overtaken, if he can keep the RPM up, he'll easily just go by you again on the straight because you're the one that lost all the RPM, locking it up, or not even locking up, but just slowing it down so deep. So it's quite a tactical class. You need to think on how you could overtake, and you have to think around who's around you, because if you do the move on the guy, if there's a guy behind you as well, he could get both of you if he has a clean corner.
Yeah.
So it's a good class to learn your racing craft for sure.
Definitely is. Definitely.
But
So,
I think that's all I've got to say, to be honest.
yeah, I was just going to say, does anyone else have anything else to say? Because,
I was going to go end on that bombshell, but now that's ruined.
Well, on that chaos or mess up.
Try and think of any. Right, we always did like last few minutes of just pure random shit. So here we are, Saturday evening. Just me and Paul in the awning, cleaning carts, prepping them, and Paul waddles up to me, and he started pulling the throttle on the cart I was working on. So he's like pulling the throttle, and I can hear myself. Someone's echoing. Oh. Anyways, I can still hear myself. So someone turned on their volume.
Well, it's not me, because I have mine turned down.
I blame Vincent.
I'm on headphones, so it's impossible.
Nico.
So am I.
Anyways, right, so he comes up to the throttle, starts pulling the throttle, and he's like, whoa, it's really smooth. So I should explain that there was no fucking engine on the cart. So
I didn't realise this at the time.
Yeah, so I just stared at Paul, and he kind of looks at me like, why are you staring at me, look? And then my eyes just turned to where the engine should be, and he's like, he didn't even say anything, he just walked away in pure shame. You fucking idiot.
Yeah, I kind of just looked up at where the engine should be, then I slowly released the throttle and walked away. That's what I done.
Before I forget, I'm going to forget, thanks to everyone that was supporting us as well, like Oren helping us out with pressures and sprockets, and Johnny with changing tires multiple times. I actually feel bad for that lad. Holy fuck.
I'd say we're doing his fucking head in.
Yeah, changing tires onto rims is fucking difficult. Holy shit, no one can do it.
None of us can do it.
No. Who else? Nige, he helped us out with changing tires.
Nige, yeah.
Oh god, what a legend.
Be lost without him.
Franco and the boys were giving us signals. Well, you didn't notice, but they were giving me signals while we were racing.
Yeah, they're giving me signals as well. I didn't understand them now, but they were giving me signals. We need to kind of talk about these signals so I can actually understand them.
What else? Nikki forgive me the thumbs up when I came into the pits, when I won. It was the first person I seen was Nikki, and she's happy. I was oh, woohoo. Not little Ethan for the support all weekend. KMRS, go away, he's ours. God, who else? Yeah, and just random people that kind of bumped into me, and they were like, "Oh, you racing?" And I was like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah." And they're like, "Oh, good luck." And then after they'd be like, "Oh, so how'd you do?" And I was like, "Oh, yeah, yeah, I won." They're like, "Jesus Christ!" So thanks to the people that were surprised. Yeah, I think that's all the random thanks and random stories. Nothing wild happened.
Think so.
So yeah, Vincent, you can say your line now if you want.
And on that bombshell,
That's it from us. Hopefully, I'm hoping to get these podcasts onto Spotify, etc. But it's actually turned out to be very difficult.
Why?
Some complicated stuff. Hopefully, it'll be sorted soon. But obviously, you can listen back to it on Facebook.
Are we putting them up on YouTube?
Yep, I'm hoping to.
Also, something obvious: Shane saying complicated stuff and having it sorted soon. I can't wait.
That'll take a month. So in a month's time, to be on Spotify.
Yeah, that'll be a podcast in itself.
Yep.
and we can look at, of course, putting it on podcast platforms to see whether that works or not. So maybe potentially you'll see it on stuff like Podcast One and things like that.
Yes.
Hopefully.
But yeah, thanks to people that actually like listening to us talking shite. Feedback from last episode was quite nice. People actually enjoyed it. I thought we were just talking shite and people would get bored, but no, people enjoyed
I
it.
had great fun last time.
I'm glad you had fun, Paul.
Thanks, Shane. I hope you had fun.
Oh wait, I should mention we didn't talk about Formula 1, but I honestly didn't think we'd be talking about karting for 1 hour, and I'm capping these at 1 hour, even though we're at 1 hour 6 minutes now. But
yeah,
we'll move on to next week. Just Formula 1. That's it. So yeah.
And I'm looking at the viewer count, and we've had a fair few people listening in to us this week. So shout out to you guys.
Oh, Nico the Conic joined. Thanks, Nico, for joining in. We're just finishing the stream. Right.